The Houston Rockets have found their next superstar, according to ESPN NBA analyst Brian Windhorst, who labeled Amen Thompson as the next NBA breakout star. We tell you what Windhorst said and why the Rockets have labeled Thompson as untouchable in the trade market this offseason. Welcome into Rockets Digest. I'm Jace Andrews. Before we get going in today's show, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button. We are less than 30 subscribers away from 1,500 subs. And if you missed yesterday's show, Mavs Digest came in and said that there was no possible way that Rockets Digest was going to hit 1,500 subs by the end of the week. Well, guess what? You pushed 40 subscribers plus yesterday. We just need 30 more now to hit that mark and prove that we are the best team in Texas, and we are the best Digest channel in Texas as well. It's 100% free, and it's the best way to support the channel. All right, let's get into the report as ESPN's Brian Windhorst views Amen Thompson as the NBA's next breakout star. Now, this all came on ESPN's NBA show in the morning, Get Up. They had Adam Schefter on there as well, and he asked Markieff Morris, Marcus Morris, and Brian Windhorst, what is a player that you see breaking out in the next coming years as a star? We'll give you all the answers, but obviously Brian Windhorst labeled Amen Thompson, and it's clear to see why. From year one to year two, Amen Thompson excelled in all categories. He increased his points per game by around 5 points from 9.5 to 14.1. In pretty much every major category, he increased from year one to year two. Now, part of that is playing time, but it's also field goal percentage. 3-point percentage skyrocketed from 13.8% to 27.5%. His free throw percent, kind of wildly enough, was the exact same percentage from year one to year two, 68.4, kind of crazy. His offensive and defensive rebounding went up. His defensive rebounding, in fact, went up by a whole rebound per game. Obviously, as a whole, then his rebounds went up, his assists went up, his blocks and steals both went up. So did his fouls and turnovers, but I think those are more to the effect of the time he was playing in game rather than, being bad or anything like that. So I truly think that Amen Thompson proved that he is for sure the Rockets' most improved player from year one to year two, but I would argue of last year's rookie class, he was probably the most improved player from year one to year two. And I think it's finally time that he starts getting the respect that he deserves. As we know, he was first team all defense, and I would label this guy as a very, very big potential future franchise player for this Houston Rockets. Now, going into who they labeled as the next NBA breakout star, I mentioned Marcus and Markieff Morris also said a name. They said Cade Cunningham and Tyrese Haliburton. So kind of funny when you look at these names because Amen Thompson is right in the mix with, I would argue, Cade Cunningham and Tyrese Haliburton have more name value for a couple of different reasons. Now, Cade Cunningham has been in the league for 3-4 years now, and alongside Tyrese, kind of similar there. Both of them, I would argue, are already stars in some aspects. So the fact that Windhorst, who is the analyst in the situation, is saying Amen Thompson, I think shows you how much both the NBA and the Rockets value Amen, and I'm really excited to see him grow from year two to year three now, especially since you could see it in the middle of the season. He was getting better with every single game. In fact, with every single quarter. I mean, he was obviously improving. He was always there to learn. Coach Ime Udoka praised him a lot of the season for how good of a defender he was, and Brian Windhorst obviously came out and said some things as well, saying, let me give you a name of somebody that you should keep an eye on next year, and he's a twin. Amen Thompson from the Houston Rockets. He's not going to win MVP, but he's a guy you should pay attention to, end quote. And I love what he's saying. Maybe Amen Thompson isn't, MVP ready, but I think he is going to be one of the franchise players for this Houston Rockets team. We have another report later on in the show that labels him as untouchable in the NBA trade market, according to sources close to the Houston Rockets. So that is a big thing that we'll get to here in a moment. But to finish off Brian Windhorst's quote, he says this, saying, Amen Thompson just made the all-defensive first team. He is going to get better offensively. He is a future All-Star, and he is a potential future franchise player for the Houston Rockets. I agree wholeheartedly. I think Amen Thompson, I'm going to say the core three of Jalen Green, Alperen Şengün, and Thompson, I think Thompson may have the highest ceiling. Now, that's not to say that he is going to be the best player. Obviously, sports and the NBA in general is very fluctuating, and maybe next year it's not as good of a season as we would expect. But at the same time, the way he's been moving, the plays that he's been making, and really the strides in his game from year one to year two, you kind of expect him to be one of the top players on this Rockets franchise next season. And obviously, winning the first team all-defensive vote was amazing to see. I know that he was labeled as one of the top defenders throughout the entire NBA, and maybe a hot take. I kind of don't think it is, but I expect Amen Thompson to at least win one Defensive Player of the Year in his career. That's how good he is. I mean, we've talked about it so many times, but it was kind of a disappointment when somebody got some points on him. And even in the NBA playoffs, he was our lockdown defender. He was a guy who was playing at, I mean, I know I don't like this guy, but Draymond Green level defense. That's how good Amen Thompson has been in a Rockets uniform. And I think that Ime Udoka said it best. He said, when people score off him, I get upset. Like, I know he is that good. I know that he can stop anybody in the NBA, anybody in the league. He could go out there and lock down any night of the season. And that's how good of a player he is on the defensive aspect. His offensive numbers continue to improve. And like I said, he's labeled as untouchable in the NBA trade market. Now, I do want to go into that trade area right here because Windhorst briefly identified Thompson as a highly desirable trade target for other NBA teams. Now, obviously his young age at 22 years old, and all those attributes are great, but after all, it's not a secret that Houston is at least exploring the market for established veteran stars, especially when you add to the fact that Fred VanVleet may or may not be here next season. Now, at the same time, we do have a report from ESPN's, I believe it's Tim MacMahon, who said, quote, a blockbuster trade would require the Rockets to give up some of that young talent. Although Houston has made it known to other front offices that Thompson is considered untouchable, end quote. Right there. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Amen Thompson should not be in a trade. I would argue if you are ranking, if a trade were to happen this summer, who we would want traded first, I think it'd be Jalen Green at the top. Number 2 would be Alperen Şengün. And number 3 would be Amen Thompson. Those, again, are the core 3. I think you'd put Jabari Smith Jr. above all 3 of those. But at the same time, talking about those core 3, I would rather trade the other 2 than Amen Thompson. Now, I don't want to trade the other 2. Straight up, that's just not what I'd like to do in this aspect because I think they have a lot of different versatility things. Now, things can be said in the offseason, can go in different directions, and maybe the opinion changes. Maybe Fred VanVleet comes back and this team runs it back for another year. Who knows what happens? They just signed a couple free agents. But either way, Amen Thompson should be considered untouchable, and I'm glad the Rockets see that as well. I really think that's a big thing. He's been just so good throughout his young career. Again, this kid is 22 years old. He'll be barely 23 by around the end of the season next year. And again, he got better in terms of year 1 to year 2. His field goal percentage was excellent down the stretch. His points per game went up, his rebounds, his assists. All these numbers are looking very solid from year 1. And if you think about it, sometimes you go into your second year and you don't play as well. And while that's less likely in the NBA compared to some other sports, it is still a factor. And I think that's credit to head coach Ime Udoka. It's credit to the Rockets training staff. It's credit to the Rockets facilities and coaches that have gotten Amen Thompson where he is today. And last time I checked, all the coaches are still there that was there when he was drafted. So I'm really excited to see him come up and play again and be back in the Rockets spread next year. And I'm really hoping that that is true, that he is completely untouchable. Because, again, I mentioned it, I do not want to see him traded. And this team is so young in general. And I think that's what is sometimes going to be lost in a lot of these trade talks. And I think I even get lost in it sometimes. Obviously, there are some big trades out there. But the Houston Rockets are the 4th youngest team in the NBA. And that is with having a 30-year-old Fred VanVleet and obviously an older Dylan Brooks. If you take those 2 out, they are probably the youngest team in the NBA. And if you look at the 2 teams ahead of you, the Pistons, that's where Sir Thompson, Amen's twin, is, and the Thunder, who right now are playing absolutely incredible and looking like they're on their way to the NBA Finals at the least, maybe even winning an NBA championship this year. So I think having Amen Thompson being labeled as the next NBA breakout star is so nice because in a lot of ways, sometimes Rockets fans overlook him. And you look at Alperen Şengün and Jalen Green and sometimes Jabari Smith Jr. as these top players that are going to come in and be high-level guys for the Houston Rockets in this upcoming season. And Amen Thompson, I think, could easily get up to a 20-point-per-game guy. And with 20 points per game and the defense that he has been able to show off, I think that is more than great for the Houston Rockets. And this is where I want you to let me know what you are thinking about this. Is Amen Thompson the next Rockets superstar? Let me know down in the comment section if you believe he is going to be one of the big names in Rockets red for years and years and years to come. I personally think he will be. And I'm really excited to just see this team blossom. And I think Amen Thompson is going to be somewhat of the first domino to fall in this upcoming season of showing how good this Rockets team is, especially if they don't make that trade, and it's Jalen Green, and it's Alperen Şengün, it's Thompson, it's Smith, it's VanVleet, it's Brooks back again. I think you're going to see Amen Thompson immediately look better, and the team look even better than they were last year, which is kind of crazy considering 52 wins, number 2 in a loaded Western Conference. I hate to say it, but the Western Conference, the way it's looking, especially with these ages here, it might be the Thunder and the Rockets battling it out in the West for potentially the next 3 or 4 years if things go as planned and if the front office makes the right move. As always, we appreciate you joining us here on Rockets Digest. Once again, if you have not hit that subscribe button, then I would really, really, really appreciate it. We are entering into the evening right now, so don't got too many hours left. Hit that subscribe button. That way we can get to 1,500 subs before the end of the day, and I can shove it right in Mavs Digest's face. Anyways, we appreciate you, and for now, peace out, H-Town.